All right, hey guys, welcome to Samco Workshop. Jason here. So you want to get tires. You want to put new tires on your truck, on your SUV. You're thinking about going up a size, whatever the case is. How's the process to do this? Because it is not as simple as you think. And if you get this stuff wrong, they're going to be rubbing. You're going to have problems. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be bogged down. You're going to not like them. There's so many things that matter, and tires are super stupid expensive now. So let's make sure we get this done right for you. So a couple things we got to look at and dive into here. First off, research the tire size that fits. So if you are going to go up in tire size, usually one size is no big deal, but a lot of them today, they're getting kind of touchy on that kind of thing. They're putting bigger tires on a lot of them already, so you got to be careful with that. But so you need to research the sizes that fit. Okay, usually Google will show you this, places like Carly Suspension and Custom Offsets, and a lot of great websites out there will tell you, because they build these kits for these, they put these tires in these wheel offsets, and we're not getting into wheel offset. Not in this one. We're keeping it simple and sticking straight with tire size, because wheel offset changes all dynamics of it. Wheel offset moves the wheel in or out, and that changes where your scrub ratio is, where you're going to rub, all that stuff. That's a whole nother video. But with tire size, you want to research the size it fits, but you have to make sure that they are on a stock wheel. Okay, you cannot look at a forum and see that somebody says, "Oh, I put 35 1250s on my pick a truck here, on my F-150. I put 35 1250s on my F-150 and they fit perfect, no rubbing." But if you look at the thumbnail on that video and it's custom wheels on it, move on. It's not going to help you. He's got custom wheels. They are offset different probably than what your stock wheels are. So that video will be of zero help to you. Same with articles. If they are not on the stock rims that you have, and you're not changing rims, then that whole concept means nothing, because they are probably offsetting the wheels differently, which will not work for you. So it's important you research the size it's going to fit, the sizes that are out there, but do it on stock. Okay, this is vital important if you are planning on keeping your stock rims or whatever your offset is. But you have to know that. Now, if you do get a wheel offset, it's important. You can go research all that information the same way, but now you have to find people that have the exact same offset for that wheel that you do. Back spacing and how far they are makes it a lot more complicated. But there are a lot of information out there on this and people that have done it, but it requires you to do a lot of digging and a lot of keyboard time to research this and find them. Then you take everything with a grain of salt. If I had a nickel for every time I saw somebody tell me that they fit, they don't rub, they're not a problem or anything like that, and then you see that they do, as a matter of fact, a perfect example. There is a guy out there, him and his wife, and they bought one of the first Colorado trail bosses out there. He put a set of 34 1150 mud tires on his with no lift, and he swore up and down that it doesn't rub, and he put it up on a block and up on things and articulated it and said it didn't. And so I was like, okay, look, perfect. 34s fit on the stock tires and they don't rub. A 34 1150 fits on there perfect. Yes. Well, then you come to find out he takes it off road and he ends up shredding one of his fenders because they do actually rub. So everything has to be taken with a grain of salt. It requires a tremendous amount of research to dive in and see what has to be fixed and corrected, or if they're going to work at all. It's not an easy process, okay? It requires research, and the research part sucks, and there is no one true answer. And like I said, you take everything that anybody says with a grain of salt. Oh, mine doesn't, or it doesn't rub at all, and full stuff, full articulated. Their idea of fully articulated may be very different from what you're going to get into. And then there's the other options of, are they articulated on flat ground, or are they articulated on a 30-degree slope, which puts all that weight on those axles? Now, are they rubbing in the back, or all these things? Or are they climbing a hill and then that axle's grinding and working? There's variables. So research as much as you can to find the tire sizes that'll fit for you. It's important. Next, what tire? What's going to fit your driving style? Are you a more on-road? Most people whether they admit it or not, are 70 to 75% on-road, 25% off-road, and that's even, it's probably more like 85-15 on-road. But people want the looks of aggressive tires and things like that, and I get it, and there's a lot of great tire options out there, but what is going to fit your driving style? Okay, if you think you're going to go out and put a mud tire on there because it looks real cool, and then you're going to jump on the forums and complain about how they're very noisy and they suck real bad, that's your fault. You shouldn't have put a mud tire on that truck and expected it to ride like a all season. Okay, you need to pick the tire that's going to fit what your driving style really is so that you get the most out of it. They are not cheap. Tires are not cheap. So if you're going to go out and spend $2,000 on new tires, you probably want them to last more than 25 or 30,000 miles. So make sure you pick one that fits your time and the way you drive. Same with the budget. Nice thing about tires today, there are a lot of tire companies that are cheaper, but they're putting out really good tires, okay? They may have had a rough start, but they're coming in really good. There's a lot of them, like Milestar, Patagonia's. They're a great mud tire for a very good price. There's a lot of them out there. Kendall's are excellent tires. Their prices are good. I remember when I first bought Falcons, they were so much cheaper than a BFG's when they first came out, whatever it was, over a decade ago. And they were so good. But there's a lot of them. Mastercraft. Mastercraft is made by, I think Cooper owns it, but Mastercraft makes a fantastic tire. There's a lot of good tires out there that are less known and are more budget friendly, but they still are fantastic tires. You need to figure out what's going to fit you. Is it going to be a $2,000 set of tires? Is it going to be a $1,000 set of tires? You need to figure out what's going to fit what you need the most. Then you also have to understand these two. If you don't get these wrong, you'll be disappointed. The tire rating and apply. Okay, so ratings, you got you got SL for standard load, you got C rated, you got D rated, you got E rated, you even got F rated tires. If you're on an F350, you're probably going to want an E rated tire. Okay, if you're on a Super Duty truck, even in every one of my full size, I automatically went straight to E rated tires. I wanted that, and I can't remember a time I ever got a flat in an E-rated tire. Love the E-rated tires. D is about perfect for people that are running, these new mid-sized trucks, and you're going to use them off-road. Sorry, I got a gnat there driving me nuts. But D-rated is fantastic. C-rated is good too. I wouldn't go any lower than a C personally, for anything off-road. And the C's are not bad, but I prefer a D or E-rated for the sidewall strength. But the ply, and you're going to get that stronger ply sidewall on there for puncture resistance, but you'll need to fit what matters to you. Why not just go to E for everything? Their E tires are heavier. They're a lot stiffer. They make more noise like that usually because of that combination. So there's things that you have to look at here. Again, there is no perfect one size fits all. You can't just say, well, what's the best tire that does good in the rain, it does good on the road, it doesn't wear down fast, it does best in the mud. It doesn't exist. You can't have it all. It doesn't exist. There's just not. If there was, there'd only be one tire available because it did everything right. It doesn't work that way. We don't have that luxury. Now another thing you got to take into consideration is the weight. The weight between ratings such as C, D, E, and F. Forget F. That's mainly, like I said, that's towing heavy with big load trucks. But between C or SL, which is standard load, C rated, and D rated, and E rated, the weights get tremendously different. That is rotating mass on the end of your vehicle. You got a tire here, a tire here, a tire here, and a tire here. If you add 10 pounds here, 10 here, you're putting 40 extra pounds on there. People are like 40 pounds is no big deal. But your motor has to turn in two-wheel drive. It has to turn 20 extra pounds out on the end of its axles. On the very end. Okay, that's very hard to do. It's like taking something, whatever it is. If we take this weed whacker right here. Okay, I can hold this weed whacker like this all day long. This is easy. Okay, I can hold it out like this all day long. That's easy. If I turn this around and put that weight of that motor out there, I can't hold that up. I cannot hold that up while I'm here. It's out on the end. Okay, it's a big difference in that factor when you start diving into that stuff. It's important to understand that. It's rotating mass on the end. It's much harder on all your steering components. It's going to be much harder on everything you got. It's much harder for the engine to turn them. And then people get them and they go, oh, it works perfect. Then when they go to kick it into four-wheel drive and they kick these wheels in, stall. Okay, it stalls out and it won't drive and it won't move them because they're too heavy. Okay, it bogs right down. So weight is a big one. You got to watch the weight. The lighter tire you could get, unless you have the horsepower, torque, and gearing, the lighter weight is going to be better for you. If you got a big old diesel, you got a Cummins 2500 truck, you put whatever tires you want on it. The thing's going to eat them up all day long without any concern. You got a Jeep Wrangler running 410 or 583 gears or something like that in there. You can put whatever you want on there, eat them up all day long. you got a Colorado ZR2 with or a Colorado Trail Boss with a 342 gear ratio and a 42-to-1 crawl ratio, weight is going to be vital important what you put on there. So these things are important. Also, here's the big one too. The true size. Okay, true size is real and people don't understand it. A 32 is not a 30. Let's actually talk about a 35. A 35 is not a 35. A 35 could be anything from 34 to 35 and a quarter high. So let's do it this way. Let's call it a 30. I'm trying to sideways. A 35 by 12.50. Okay, so this tire can be anything from, it can be basically, you could end up with anything from 34, again trying sideways, so it can be from a 34 to a 35 point, you could even go to a, we'll call it a half. Could be anything from 34 to 35 and a half is would be considered a 35 or pretty close to it. And anything from, say, 11.9 to 12.9 or even 13. Look at the size differences that are going to fit in this one category, and you are going to see them. For example, 35 1250. If it is a Falcon Wild Peak AT4, it's going to be shaped like this. Okay, if it's a BF Goodrich KO3, it's going to be shaped like this. Okay, but they're both 35 1250s. Now I'll show you real pictures. I'm just kind of exaggerating. I'm showing you that the fact is that they are not the same. So if somebody on the forums, this is where this last one comes in, this one right here, this is the most important step. Once you know what you want, so let's break that down real quick. Let's just dive through it. So here I am. I'm researching the tires that I want for my Gladiator Rubicon, stock wheels, no trim. Okay, I researched 35 by 1150 is flawless, fits my rims, fits everything perfect. What fits my driving style? My driving style is about 50-50, so I want a good tire that's going to fit that. Budget-wise, these two come together, and what I end up with is a Falcon. We're going to go with the new AT4. Okay, so I put a new Falcon AT4 tire on here. Rating and ply wise, I am going to go with a, let's just say, I don't know if they make it, but let's say we're going to go with a D rated. Okay, because D is going to fit my bill enough. Yes, it's a little bit heavier. It's going to be a little heavier than other ones, but I'm okay with that, especially with the crawl ratio and the gearing I have. I'm good with it. So that's the tire I want. Now, I look at the true size of that and realize that it's bigger. This is the Falcon. This is the BFG. Okay, so I realize this. Now, when I go online and I see people showing me that a BFG in this 351150 fits on a Gladiator with no rubbing, no anything, that's good. Does that mean I can go buy the Falcons now? Because the BFG is a 35 1250. Can I go buy the Falcons and will they fit? No, it does not. It gets you close, but you probably still need to go research if the Falcon will, because you can see this size difference, and yet they're the same tire. Okay, it's real. Okay, you have tires with squared off, like Falcon uses a very squared off, on their edges here. BF Goodrich and Hankook and stuff like this, they're much more rounded on there. Okay, there's a lot of variables that come into play. This means that I could be rubbing on a fender where this one might clear a fender. See what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that you got to take into consideration here. So you want to verify all of this stuff with your tires that you pick. So when I hit the forums here, I want to look up that Falcon AT4 and I want it on a Rubicon in my size. I need this stuff to match. Takes a lot of time. Once I have this stuff sorted and solved and I get the answers I'm looking for, then I buy my tires. Okay, this is how you do it without getting yourself into trouble and getting there. But too many people will assume this stuff works and they get into, like, for example, let's take that new Colorado. That new Colorado that just came out. So you look online and you see that somebody put a set of 34-inch 341150s in a BFG KO3, and they're like, and it fit on there, and you're like, yes, that fit perfect on there. They're like, it doesn't bog down, it doesn't have a problem, I don't rub anywhere, everything is absolutely fantastic, best tire I've ever owned, not noisy, it's fantastic. So you're all excited. So then that happens, and then all of a sudden you go and you're like, okay, perfect, I want a BFG, because this guy says that 1150 34 fits perfect on here. He said it's fantastic. He has the BFG, but you're looking at it and you're like, well, I want the Falcon. So you buy the same size in a Falcon AT4. You get it on yours, and then all of a sudden it rubs like crazy. Why? Because again, we showed, here's the BF Goodrich. Okay, here is the Falcon. Okay, so the Falcon is much bigger, even though they're same size tire. But now, so you're rubbing. He's not rubbing, but you're scrubbing inside and outside, and you're grinding away as you turn. You're not happy about it because now you got to put a lift on your vehicle to be able to get them to work, or you got to buy new wheels to offset. But you just got screwed out of a couple $1,000s because you heard him say that this was good. Then, even to top that off, you get this thing out in the woods, and all of a sudden you start again. You're stalling. Okay, and you're struggling to turn these over, and these wheels aren't working very good for you. These tires, you lost all your power. It's very doggy, very boggy. You didn't realize that these weigh 10 pounds more per tire than those do. Okay, these are things that are going to bite you in the butt and come back to haunt you. So this guy, who you based all your stuff on, had a 341150 on his Colorado. It was a BF Goodrich KO3. Everything was fantastic. He straight up loved the tire. You're like, great, but I'm going to do a Falcon. You buy a 341150 Falcon AT4, you put it on, it rubs like crazy, it bogs your machine down, you lost all your power, and you're not happy. Why? Because you didn't do the research that was needed to find out that these are 10 pounds heavier and that they're actually bigger. That's the point of this video. Do this stuff right, do the research, save yourself the hassle and the headache so that you get exactly what you're looking for. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.